Hey there guys, Alex here, showing off version 2.0 of my Berserker Thief build now that Guild Wars 2 is finally out. It is a sword pistol thief build that doesn't rely on condition damage to get the job done. It's all power and weapons damage instead. And if you look here, we've actually increased our attack output from the previous build that we've been using. It's slightly higher, I'm not complaining about that at all. We want to be as deadly as possible. And also because of some of the traits that we've chosen now, we've increased our critical chance from 25 to 30. Now in our armor, we keep the standard Rune of the Thief because we want the full set bonus that gives us the flat 10% damage increase when attacking from behind or from the side. In our sword down here, we have a Sigil of Superior Frailty. That just gives us a chance to apply vulnerability on critical hits. And in our offhand pistol, we have a Sigil of Superior Strength just to potentially give us another stack of might every now and then. In our ranged set, both of these pistols have Sigils of Superior Ice. That lets us apply chill to our opponent. It's really useful for a skill like Unload. Right here we have a Soldier's Amulet, but we have a Berserker's Jewel in it, and it balances out toughness and vitality with precision and extra critical damage. But right here is where the big differences come in. We used to have 15 points in Deadly Arts, and I got rid of all of them because we don't need them. We only use Devourer Venom, and we only use that because it immobilizes our target and sets them up for our high burst rotations. So because we don't use anything to really generate condition damage, I took all of the extra points and I maxed out critical strikes. Right here, our critical chance is increased by 5 if our enemy's health is over 90%. That's fairly useful, but this next one is really interesting. Signets of Power, that's new to the build, and anytime we use a Signet, we immediately gain 5 stacks of might, and we have Signet of Shadows, and that's mostly for the speed buff, but it can blind opponents too, so whenever we use that, we also are granting ourselves immediately 5 stacks of might, so we get to be very deadly. Opportunist just gives us some initiative back occasionally on critical hits. Right here, Side Strikes increases our critical chance ability when we're attacking from the side or behind. That synergizes very well with the full set bonus we get from Runes of the Thief. This right here, if our initiative is over 6, we get another 10% increase to our damage, and there's lots of ways to keep it up. That's why we have Opportunist right there. It synergizes very well with Opportunist. Executioner is our most important skill. Whenever an enemy's health is below half, we do an extra flat 20% damage, so suddenly we become very, very deadly. We don't put any points into Shadow Arts. We're not a stealth thief. We're not really big on healing, so we don't focus on that. We put some extra points in Acrobatics instead. Right here, you gain 2 seconds of Swiftness on Evade, which is good for getting away from pursuers. And then this next skill lets us generate might when we dodge, and we can stack that as much as we want, because this next skill also gives us back some endurance whenever we dodge, right? So we're able to dodge a lot more than some other people might be able to. Right here, if we dodge and we have cripple or weakness on us, we can purge that from us right away. And then when our endurance bar isn't full, we do an additional 10% damage. So dodging really helps us out a lot. Trickery, we have 15 points. Right here, we get 3 initiative when we steal. It's useful if we use steal as a shadow step, but that's about it. Uncatchable is the really important one. We drop caltrops when we dodge, and that slows down pursuers. And that right there, that extra last point in Trickery, just gives us a bigger initiative pool. So let's look around here. Let's see. If you move around, watch. When we do that, we get our might, and we can stack that, and you see we get our swiftness too. And because that bar isn't full, we're doing an additional 10% damage. And then also remember, when we dodge, we're removing weakness and cripple from us. So we have a lot of ways to remain mobile. Now, for our healing skill, we actually use Withdraw because it's very useful for moving around terrain. It removes us from battle, and it also removes Chill, Immobilize, and Crippling. Devourer's Venom roots our target. It synergizes well with Haste. So we can root our target, use something like Pistol Whip, use Haste, and then use Pistol Whip again, and we'll do a lot of damage, especially if we're attacking positionally or if they're under 50% health. Signet of Shadows gives us a speed buff and a chance to blind our opponents, but we also get those 5 stacks of might whenever we use it. Now you can use Basilisk Venom if you want another root, but for what it's worth, I prefer Thieves Guild, because we're not too glassy, but this gives us a little defense if we're attacking nodes or if we're getting overwhelmed by enemies. We're able to summon these 2 thieves, and it's important for us to use something like Infiltrator Strike to move around the battlefield because we can jump around a lot. Overall, the build's even deadlier than before, and I'm really enjoying it.